Hey everyone, it's Mike Andes, and today we're going over exactly what the best software for your home service business is in 2026. Now, to be fully transparent, I own one of the companies I'm going to be talking about today. But my objective in the software comparison that we're going to do is to give you the full understanding of three different softwares. One is Service Autopilot, two is Jobber, and three is Copilot CRM, soon to be Homeworks. So let's go ahead and jump in, and I'm gonna go through several different phases of pricing, features, and comparing them. And we're actually gonna go straight to their website and compare exactly what you can expect from these softwares. All right, so today, like I said, we are comparing these three. We'll hop into my slides and compare Service Autopilot, Jobber, and Homeworks, and the pros and the cons of them for your business. So I did one of these reviews before, and I got a lot of heat for it. It got like 50 or 60,000 views, I think probably more by now. And I got people saying all sorts of things. Now, I want to be very clear. I am biased. I've owned Copilot for almost 3 years now, and we're changing the name over to Homeworks. However, I know the founders of a lot of these companies or their previous founders, since a lot of them have been bought out. So, for example, Mark Bradley got bought out in 2025, and I actually used to be one of a mastermind of software founders with him. Service Autopilot was founded by Jonathan Potoshnik, and I'm really good friends. I would consider myself good friends with Jonathan. So a lot of these people actually know I have a lot of industry experience. So I'm not just speaking from a user's perspective, because yes, we have built Augusta Lawn Care, and I have used most of these CRMs actually in my business. I actually acquired another business that was using LMN. I've used Service Autopilot for years. I've used Jobber. I've used Yardbook. I've used lots of different CRMs before we started Copilot. So let's go ahead and jump in though and see exactly what software you should be using in your business. So let's first look at pricing. We're gonna go ahead and jump right into the websites of the three different softwares. Can you guys see this on the screen? Can they see that, Jace? Okay, fantastic. So let's go look at the pricing for all three of these. I'm gonna swipe over here and join Service Autopilot. If you're joining live, I'll be answering all your questions in the chat. So feel free to comment throughout, and I'll make sure we get to those questions. Let's first go over pricing. Now, in my opinion, software is the best investment dollar for dollar in your business by far. When it comes to getting more work, so we look at sales, operations, and admin, the three departments of every business, getting the work, doing the work, and getting paid for the work. I think that from a sales perspective, getting more leads is what most people think they need. And if you actually are lead constrained and getting more customers is important, then your website, advertising, those are really important. But when it comes to operations and admin, doing the work and getting paid for the work, software is the best dollar for dollar investment. Why? Because if you don't use software, you're still gonna have to do a lot of these tasks. You're gonna have to email people, you have to call people, you're gonna have to text people, you have to get their payment. All of these things take time in operations and in sales. Asking for reviews, sending out invoices, getting surveys. All of these things can be automated using software. And so let's just say you spend $500 or $1,000, and if you're just getting started, it seems crazy to spend that much money per month. However, one admin person could easily cost you $5,000 to $6,000 a month in just wages, let alone having to put them in an office space and all the computers and everything else that goes into just housing an office person. So if I can save that person 50% of their time, that saved me thousands of dollars every month. But the part that I really want to unlock and talk about today is how do you actually make your software not just an admin, not just an operations function of the business, but also get more leads? Because a lot of us, that's what we want to do. We want to grow in 2026. And that's where I want to focus on today. And so when we look at these packages, I'm going to be looking at the highest tier because I'm assuming you're trying to grow $1 million+ business. All right. So this is Service Autopilot. We're just looking at pricing. We'll jump into features and things like that in just a little bit. So they have these different tiers. Now, from my perspective, I must have a client portal. I've got to have a place where customers are able to log in, see all of their payments, and it saves a ton of admin time in comparison to the customer always calling in, having to change their credit card. It saves me so much time. So client portal, very important. I've got to have two-way texting. The vast majority of our communication now is via text instead of email. The reason for that is simply due to the fact that text messages get opened up 98 to 99% of the time, whereas emails get open maybe 30 to 40% of the time. And especially when it comes to new customers, getting through a spam filter is difficult when you're sending links, usually to your estimates, as well as asking for money if you're asking for a card on file. And so those a lot of times go to spam, and for that reason, you never actually even get seen by the customer. And so text message is extremely important. I'm going to assume we have to use text messages in all of these. Now, for Service Autopilot, they do not show their elite package, and I really need the two-way texting. Like literally, that's the main reason. The email integration is nice. It's Smart Maps is nice to be able to do optimization of routes. So that is important. That way, I don't have to buy a whole bunch of tokens, like I do in their Pro Plus. So $4.99 is their Pro Plus, and then they also, I think it's like a per user. There's somewhere down here it's per user on top of that. I want to say they moved it up to like $29 or $39 per user now if you go above 5 mobile users. But if you're like $1 million business, you're really wanting to scale, you want texting, you're going to be up here at the elite level. Now, I'll save your time if you're thinking about getting a demo. It starts at $8.99. So you're looking at $900 for the elite package to get really what I see as requirements to be able to scale the business using text messages, a customer portal, routing and dispatch, and optimization. There's a couple other things in here that I don't see, I've been a part of and haven't seen a huge amount of value in. Like Accelerate, for example, gives you all of your email, text templates, etc. And it's useful, but I think it's kind of crazy that if you don't get it in the elite, you have to pay for them to give you designs, pay for the email templates, pay for the texting templates, and the automations, etc. I think it's kind of crazy that you have to pay for that. But if you join Accelerate, basically wrap that into the program. So let's just call it $900 a month is what you're getting for Elite for Service Autopilot. We're talking about pricing. Let's go ahead and jump into Jobber. All right, so Jobber, this is their website. Let's go ahead and jump into pricing. We're going to have a team. We're not going to be doing an individual solo. Oh, one quick thing to note here is that Service Autopilot, this is all based upon annual subscription rates. So we know, because we've had to cancel from them, they will not let you out of this, and there will be a huge fee to cancel early. Also, because of their credit card processing, there's an additional, we pay like $400 per location, per account that we have with them, just to end the annual contract with their credit card processor, which is Explore. We'll talk more about who owns Service Autopilot and Jobber and Copilot in just a minute. But one quick thing is really important is all of these numbers are annual subscriptions, meaning the $900 a month that you're paying for Elite is if you subscribe to an entire year. Okay, so I don't really like that. I like to compare, apples to apples here and look at the monthly cost. So the monthly cost for Jobber, you're looking at $5.99 a month for the Plus version. And we'll talk about features in just a second. But again, what's nice, it bundles in 15 users, which is really handy compared to Service Autopilot bundles in only 8 mobile users. So that's nice. Jobber per user after 15 gets a little pricey. I think it's $29 per user. So if you start getting above $1.5 million or so, you're starting to start adding an extra $30 per person. We'll talk more about features in just a minute, but that's really their cost to be able to get texting and other features. We'll talk more about their limitations around texting, but ultimately I can't do bulk messaging, which means I have to go get another subscription like MailChimp. So for the sake of comparison, let's open up MailChimp for a second, look at some of the pricing here. So let's look at pricing, because ultimately Text Blast is by far and away the biggest lever when it comes to getting more leads in your business. How do I know this? Just yesterday, we sent out, or not yesterday, last month, we sent out my location text messages to all of our customers. Within 24 hours, we got like 53 estimates, 18 accepted one-time jobs, and 3 recurring jobs accepted in 24 hours, and it didn't cost us a single penny. So the fact is, if you're not sending out text messages in mass and you're spending money in ads or Google ads or Facebook ads, it's almost insane. And so let's look at the cost if you also have to tack on the fact that with Jobber, we need to plug in something like MailChimp for texting. So we're gonna do SMS and email. Let's assume you have let's just call it 10,000 contacts. And now this is the part that's a little confusing. They say SMS credits here. So you're like, oh, well, if I send a couple messages, I'll need 10,000 SMS credits. The problem is an actual text message can easily be 4 or 5 SMS credits. And I know this because we send them out all the time. And on average, my text messages that I send to my customers that are marketing are between 4 and 7 text credits because I'm not going to fit within 160 characters. They're usually going to be a season-specific offer for a season-specific service, and that's how I get all of those leads for free when I text everyone. And so I'm usually going to be probably, let's just assume 5. So if I had 50,000 text credits in the month, let's see what our cost would be now. Okay, so it's going to be $460 per month. I don't think you need this one. There's a couple extra features within, even just the essentials here, all right? So again, you show this number up here. I don't know why they do this. It shows what's due today, but realistically, you're paying an extra $435 per month. That's just for the text blast of MailChimp that I would then add on top of Jobber. So again, I am trying to get to the point where I can text my customers, because even if you use Jobber right now and you're going to, that's fine. I would still pay $400 to be able to text my customers once or twice a month with a season-specific offer, because that is the best $400 you'll ever spend on advertising, because you're literally messaging all of your warm leads. People have you already done work for, people you're already doing work for if you're on a recurring service. This is the best bang for your buck if you are in a home service business. And so the fact is, why would you ever spend $1 in marketing before you follow up with all your existing customers that have estimates pending? And then secondly, message via email and text all your customer contact database. I see people all the time spending $5,000, $10,000 a month on Facebook ads, Google ads, banners. I've seen TV ads and radio ads, goodness gracious, Yelp, all these things, Thumbtack, all over the place, without even just messaging the customers that are in their database and immediately getting warm leads to convert for no cost. And even if you're paying $400 I'd still do it. It's the best bang for your buck, because say, for example, my location, if I send out one text message and I got 50 estimates, that's like a less than $10 cost per lead if I was paying MailChimp $400 a month just for this feature. So if I take a business that has about 5,000 contacts, I send out 1 or 2 text messages to my customers a month, I'm going to be paying, let's be a little more conservative. Let's just say we're going to send 1 text message a month to all our customers, and then we have like emails or text messages for like for estimates and invoices. It's like $330. Let's say $300 just to be conservative on MailChimp. So if we add that to here, $300 on top of $599, we're looking at, again, about $900 per month. Autopilot in the cost per month. I will say again, Service Autopilot does not have any monthly options. We are comparing, they don't even give that option. So we are comparing monthly here on Jobber. So about $900 a month if you're going to have the texting, and we'll get into their features, which I think are really solid on Jobber as well. Now let's go look at Copilot CRM. So this is their homepage. Let's go ahead and jump into the pricing. Okay, so again, we're gonna go to monthly. These are the 4 different options. We got Enterprise over here, up 5,000 contacts, $279 a month. Now, we are going to change this in 2026 because so many people get confused over this. We are not way cheaper than Jobber and Service Autopilot. The fact is, we don't bundle in a whole bunch of users. So they're bundling in 15 users on Jobber. That's why, if you just take the math of they charge $30 per user, times that by 15, it's like $400. So they're bundling all of that in. And the reason that's nice is because you don't have to like add and subtract users all the time, and your bill doesn't go up and down. So having that consistency is nice. And unfortunately, people look at our pricing like, oh, why are you so much cheaper? It's like, no, if you have 5, 10 employees and you add $15 per month, we're more around that $400, $500 range per month. Okay. So if you look at pricing, we're essentially looking at Service Autopilot being at $900 per month, but you have to sign an annual contract. And then we're looking at Jobber, about $600 per month, plus the SMS side, so about $900 per month also. And that includes all the users, the mobile users, which is very good. And then at Copilot, we're looking at a smaller base fee, the $279 a month for the enterprise. However, I will have to pay $15 per month per user. Let's assume you have like 10 users. It's $150, $450. What's nice here is that for the first half of 2025, or 2026, sorry, there's no cost to sending out text messages. And so you can bulk message all your customers. We sent it out the other day to thousands of customers completely free. There's no credits. It's completely free. Now, in the future, we'll have to charge for it because there are people that are literally spending more in text credits inside of Copilot than their complete subscription. Because it actually costs us, we use Twilio to send out the text messages, it costs us 3-4 cents per text message that you send out. Because again, a text message might be 5, 6, 7 credits, and that has a real cost to us. Down the road, we will have to meter it, but we'll still give you thousands for free as part of the subscription. But for the people that are spending out literally tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of texts a month, we'll have to start metering that later in 2026. But for now, $279 a month, $15 per month is an addition per user. Now, again, I am looking at all three of these at the highest level because I want to spend every dollar possible to convert labor of my admin and my operations people into software that just shows up every single day and works. Now, the thing that's advantageous about Copilot is the fact that it can go on the offensive and reach out via text message and upsells and other features that will actually also get you leads. So from a cost perspective, let's just as a blanket statement say $900 per month for Service Autopilot. You don't get any text credits for that, by the way. You do have to additionally add text credits. And then we got $600 per month for Jobber, but you also have to buy text credits on top of that, which depending on the size of your business might be a few $100, but let's say $900 for Service Autopilot, $600 per month for Jobber, and then probably around $400 to $500 per month, depending on the size of your business and how many mobile users you have for Copilot. Let's just say $500 to be fair. So we are a tiny bit cheaper, but not a lot once you start adding in the mobile users. All right, we've talked about pricing. Now let's go ahead and talk about features. Swipe back over, and we're gonna start off again with Service Autopilot. So again, I am looking at the highest point of the subscription level. Now I'm gonna talk about these from my perspective as a user and kind of being in the community and knowing hundreds, if not thousands, of business owners that use these programs. So I would say Service Autopilot's strength is their dispatch board and their automations. Their dispatch board is super good when you have 10, 15 routes. I have yet to see any dispatch board that competes with it. It has so much granular detail that you can really dig into and do big businesses with lots of routing. It is so good. The dispatch board is by far and away the best. Now, in terms of the automations, also stellar. Some of the best automations, reliability, and the ability to build custom automations is some of the best out there. So from a feature perspective, those were I think they shine. Now, the problem that I see, so I'm doing pros and cons. Cons that I see is that there really hasn't been any feature development at Service Autopilot for over 5 years because they were sold to private equity about 6 years ago. And after that, they laid off all their support. They laid off almost a lot of their engineering team. Only one of their leadership team is still with them. They've cycled people through. I think there's been like several CEOs. It's now owned by a conglomerate of private equity. There's just no innovation on the feature side whatsoever. And so all of the things that I love about Service Autopilot, and still to this day do love about it, existed 6 years ago and has not changed. And that's a huge red flag when it comes to software because there's so much coming down the pipe with AI and with the ability to be able to use technology to make your home service business more efficient. I don't want to be in a software system that is actively cutting support. I cannot get a hold of them I can't. You can't get through to chat because they only have AI bots. I cannot, it's impossible. They have cut support and cut product development dramatically. And they've just raised prices every single year raising prices, while at the same time cutting support and cutting product development kills me. And so that is the pros and cons of Service Autopilot. I think if you have a massive business and you love custom automations, you love having a solid dispatch board, and you have 10, 15, 20 routes throughout the day, I think Service Autopilot is elite. Okay, let's go ahead and go to Jobber. Okay, so when we look at the features here of Jobber, I personally believe the strength of Jobber is their user interface. Their mobile app is by far and away the best mobile app on the market. If you want to run your business from your mobile app, it is the best, and it's not even close. You can do everything from your mobile app, collecting payment, collecting reviews, sending invoices, estimates, everything. It is the best mobile app by far, and it's not even close. And so if you're running your business as a solo operator and you're out in the field doing estimates, doing invoicing, doing everything from your phone, very, very valuable. in general, the user interface of Jobber is the best. It is simple. It is basic. You can jump in there and immediately understand where things are at. And honestly, they have the most money to be able to put into things like onboarding and smoothing out the user interface. And they have done a fantastic job of it. It is so simple to use. And there's some limitation on the features because of that. The in-depth, okay, those are the pros. The pros are easy user interface and fantastic ease of use and operation, especially on the mobile app. Because of it's so simple, there are some limitations on things like the dispatch board, custom automations, and there's a lot of things that in order to make it really work well, you have to plug it into other things, which cost more. So like, I want video. That means I have to go get company cam. For my business, that was an additional $300 per month. If I want to do texting, I have to go to MailChimp. If I want to do mass texting, that's going to cost me more per month. So like, it's very easy to spend a lot of money on Jobber because they do the basics very, very, very well. But when you start wanting to do other things, you have to start connecting other softwares. It can get very expensive very fast. And that's the part that we really struggled with. Because at Augusta, we have 200 plus locations. I need to have a level of feature support that is not going to cost $1,000 per month by the time I get everything I need. And so the pros, very simple to use, the best mobile app by far. The cons are there are some limitations on the more in-depth features around dispatch board, custom automations, and even marketing that I expect to have when it comes to text messages. I will say they do have very good email, like the marketing suite is solid. I really like their Jobber receptionist. Is it going to be as good as someone answering the phone, a human? No, but it will at least do better than your voicemail. About 37% of people that hit a voicemail will leave a message. AI, that you can bump that past 50, 60%. And there's mixed reviews on their receptionist. I think it's decent enough to be able to almost double the amount of people that leave a message and you collect their information, which is a big win for me, in my opinion. And that's what I'm focused on. Will it be 100% like a human? No, but it does a good job. And so I think that's another huge win from Jobber. Another thing I like about Jobber is they have API access when you're in the Plus. So if you're really actually connect their API, connect your own dashboards, and you have some technical skill to build out some code, definitely some cool use cases. Something we are looking to add in 2026 also to Copilot because it is very cool once you get more in depth with the software. All right, let's look at the features of. So strengths and weaknesses. First off, because I'm biased and I own the company, I'm gonna start with the weaknesses. The weaknesses right now of Copilot is that we are the youngest of these three companies. So both Service Autopilot and Jobber have been around for more than 10 years. Copilot less than 3, okay? So that's our first downside. There's just the fact that as those first few years go by, you get to learn so much. And when we first started, we went through a lot of bugs. We went through a lot of scaling problems. I'm happy to say, like last month, not a single piece of downtime, not a single second did the software go down. And we actually increased the speed of the software by almost a little over 10%, 10.7%. But those are the growing phases that we've been in the past few years at Copilot and soon to be Homeworks. We're changing the name of Copilot to Homeworks in February 2026, and we've announced that before. But when it comes to the feature side, let's talk about the pros and the cons. Cons. The user interface is not as good as I would like right now. That is changing in 2026. It's a big focus of ours because joining Copilot, similar to Service Autopilot, there's a lot of complexity and it can get a little overwhelming if you're getting onboarded. Once you're in the system and you understand it, it's a little easier and it's super useful. But there's a lot of things like buttons and filters that we can clean up and make it way simpler, way easier to understand, and just a cleaner interface. The Field Force mobile app, on the other hand, is the step in the direction of clean user interface. We launched it in 2025, works offline, which is awesome because even if you're in spotty spots in terms of cell service, it'll still track time, get video, pictures, job forms, etc. It works in Spanish mode, etc. So the Field Force mobile app is the first step in the direction of simple user interface and really make it easy to understand. And so another con of Copilot is that user interface is caused by legacy code in PHP. Like I said, we are moving to React throughout 2026, and we're doing it page by page by page. So the waitlist and the unscheduled work, new features we recently released, those are both made in the new React code base that will be propagated across the entire system throughout 2026. So I think our biggest Achilles heel, which is simplicity and just the design, that's our biggest Achilles heel. I think that will get solved throughout 2026, and we're gonna do it in a very systematic way, page by page by page. It's not gonna blow up all of a sudden, be different. It's gonna be page by page, looking at the feedback from our customers and really making improvements. And so I think that's probably our biggest con, is the user interface. Now, pros, I would say, is the fact that the mass texting is built into the system. And right now, you can go in there, put in 5,000 contacts, get your texting set up, and send out thousands of text messages, and it doesn't cost you a single penny. That's phenomenal. Also, this is the part that, from a pricing perspective, is kind of hidden. If you look at the ACH cost, we charge exactly what Stripe charges, which is 0.8% capped at $5 transaction. Now, this means a lot if you do big projects, because if you have a $100,000 job, you're gonna pay $5 to get a bank transfer. If you go to Jobber or Service Autopilot, let's look at now, let's scroll down here. I wanna go to here, compare all the features. Let's go down to their pricing, because this is the part that people don't talk about. On bank ACH. And this is very similar to Service Autopilot, which means on a $100,000 project, you're gonna pay $1,000 in compared to at Copilot, you're gonna charge $5. So a lot of these companies are not making money on the subscription. They're making money on the processing fees. And we charge at Copilot exactly what Stripe is charging us. We just pass it directly to you. So from a credit card side of things, that's exactly what we are. They're passing that along at the same price as Stripe is. But Pilot, when it comes to ACH, that's where you're gonna save a lot if you're doing big projects. Because we cap it at $5, allowing you to save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on processing fees. This is where it gets a little slippery with Service Autopilot, is they're owned by a credit card processing company, and there's a ton of fees. They don't have straightforward, clear percentages on their processing fees. Again, these companies make money on processing more so than the actual subscription fees. And they lock you in with the software, but then they make money on the processing. And so Service Autopilot is owned by a company called Clearant. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the pricing that is hidden behind all of these software packages is the fact that their processing fees is where they make the money. And Clearant, you're gonna be negotiating with them. And they have a whole bunch of other hidden fees, like statement fees, PCI compliance, a whole bunch of other stuff that Jobber and Copilot do not have. We just charge flat what Stripe is. Stripe takes care of all your PCI compliance and all your regulatory stuff. There's no hidden fees. And there are people in Service Autopilot paying 3.5, 4, I've seen 4.5% on processing once they take into account all the extra fees that are being added. Okay, so other features inside of Copilot. This is really built for the operator that is wanting to get more. We have video support inside of the mobile app so that you can do upsells. We have the upsell button that from the app, they can click a button and send a text or email to the customer, upselling them another service. We have the ability to be able to mass text and email and immediately get hundreds of leads without going and spending money on Facebook and Google. So my objective is really built around how do we grow a business that's in profit mode that I don't have to go spend God. I believe the cost of most home service businesses is not their software, it's product and it's advertising. And I think we can take those down dramatically by having simple processing fee structure like we have at Copilot, as well as being able to send text messages and emails directly to our customers, upsells directly to our customers, videos directly to our customers. The video feature alone inside Copilot allows up to a 500 megabyte file to be added. That's over 10 minutes of high definition video that's attached. That inside of Company Cam, for example, would cost me hundreds of dollars just for the video feature that we have at Copilot. And from that video, I can attach it to a visit, a product, or portal, and there's a lot more that's coming down the pipe around that. Now, a couple I love most about Copilot is the off-season feature, for when I set up a recurring visit, I don't have to have a pause during the fall and then restart it in the spring. If I have a recurring series, I can set it indefinitely to keep going and then just have a off season that the visits are paused for that period of time. This saves so hundreds or thousands of recurring visits. The ability to be able to just set and not pause and restart services every single off season, super valuable. Also, if my off season moves a little bit because the weather is nicer or it gets, I can just go change one button in the settings and immediately change the date, and all the visits are added or subtracted immediately. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes because if you have hundreds or thousands of visits, it can take a while, 10 or 15 minutes. A whole entire day to go through thousands of visits and add them because it got warmer in November and we have to do one more cut. This is the type of thing that you can save so much time. Off seasons, big fan. The custom automations, big win in my opinion when it comes to Copilot. Another thing I really like about Copilot is the ability to be able to have deposit thresholds and credit card on file requirements, meaning that the customer has or pay the deposit before on the estimate. Now, when we went through this whole process and you're adding the extra friction of asking for a deposit, getting a card on file, we wanted to make sure that there wasn't drop off and close rate. And so we spent months refining that, especially on a mobile device, because 80% of estimates are accepted from a mobile device. When we released this feature early in 2025, it increased the close rate of our customers by 30 to 80% across the board. Not a single customer went down in close rate. Everyone went up, and 50%. Let's just say it was 50%. That was 30% close rate to 45%. That'd be a 50% increase in your close rate just by having a really well crafted user interface on a mobile device that requires and the deposit we paid before they click accept. That way, when I get notified that an estimate is accepted, I can put them on the schedule. I don't have to send them an email asking for a card on file, send them an email with a 50% invoice. Don't have to do that. It's all baked into the estimate acceptance process. So those are some of the pros and the cons of Copilot. One of the things I didn't talk a lot about was the onboarding. Right now at Copilot, we can import all your customer base and get everything set up for you, and it doesn't cost you anything. Some other softwares, if you look at LMN or Service Autopilot, there are fees to get onboarded, but right now we will do that for you. Okay. And we've talked about features. Let's talk about, this is the part where I think that is a clear winner. It's Jobber, by far. Jobber has a fantastic mobile app. It is clear, super easy to use. You can do everything in the business essentially from the mobile app. Whereas Service Autopilot and Copilot, a lot of the functionality and the features that are much more in depth have to be done on a desktop. So when it comes to Homeworks, Copilot, we have the mobile app, which is called Field Force. That's in the top left there. And that was designed and created in 2025. And I like it a lot because it does work offline. Same thing as Service Autopilot. Jobber does not. It's a web-based app, meaning that if you go offline, you can't really use it. So the fact that if you have offline mode enabled, awesome. The mobile app for Field Force inside of Copilot is the only one that's going to handle huge video files and process them on the back end while your team's working. And I think that's the biggest win. The downside of the Field Force mobile app is it has the least amount of functionality of these three apps so far. However, every 2 to 3 weeks, we're adding more functionality. I truly believe that by summer of 2026, this will be industry leading. But right now, there's somewhat limited features and functionality in the mobile app for Field Force compared to Jobber. Jobber is by far the best mobile app when it comes to this category. Service Autopilot has a mobile app they have two though. It's a little confusing. And about 8 years ago, they announced their team mobile app, and it has been buggy. Most of people still use the legacy. Most members still use the legacy version of Service Autopilot on the mobile app because the team has just been buggy. That being said, they're putting a lot of resources into it now, and I'm hopeful that this year it'll get better. The team mobile app that is for your crew out. I believe it's really important to have a mobile app that is designed just for the field members. You have bigger buttons, less functionality, but it's very intuitive and simple and easy to understand, and ideally works offline. And Service Autopilot also does that. You can go offline in a bad area, still be able to clock in out of jobs, add notes, and then when it hits the cloud, it syncs back up. So Field Force from Copilot does that. Service Autopilot does. Jobber does not. But neither Jobber or Service Autopilot will handle the video files. I like video files a lot because I can use that not only for upselling customers and attaching it to their customer portal, I can use it for project updates. So on a huge project, the customer's out of town, I can make videos, be able to easily put in their customer portal, document what's happening. I can use it for equipment maintenance for my team. I can also use it for estimate videos so that at the meeting with the customer, I don't have to go back to the property and show the crew the job. I just make the video, attach it to the property, and then that property video is attached to their visit when the time comes for the job. Saves me a ton of time as an estimator. So there's a bunch of use cases for video inside the Fieldforce mobile app. That's, I think, my strongest point for Fieldforce. And Service Autopilot and Jobber also have these apps. Jobber is the best user interface. Service Autopilot is probably the most reliable on their legacy one, but it seems like they're putting more resources in their team app, and I'm hopeful that it will improve. It's just been 8 years since it was talked about and launched, and it's just been a slow journey. All right, because the software support you get so you can actually utilize it. So Copilot, CRM, soon to be Homeworks is what's right above me. That is, in my opinion, where we shine. We have made a huge investment, be able to bring the team in the office and have video support. So you can book a call and immediately screen, do Zoom with the support team members, and they can see inside of your account. They can see exactly what you're doing wrong. They can quickly diagnose, and usually within 24 hours, you can hop on a call with them on video or schedule a phone call. Jobber has the same chat as us at Homeworks and is good. Intercom is what both of us are using, and the AI is really good. It scrubs your help articles, but Jobber does a pretty good job of that. I've seen good things and bad things about their support. I had a pretty good experience with their support, to be honest with you, when I had to get past the chat in terms of chatting with a human. There was limitations around video support and phone support. That was a little harder, but their chat I felt was solid. And so we made a lot of investments at Homeworks, Copilot currently, soon to be Homeworks, on our support side to bring our average time to get to a human down to 7 minutes. It was 30 minutes in 2024. It was 20 minutes in 2025. Or sorry, 2023 was 30 minutes. Then it was 20 minutes in 2024. 2025, we got down to under 7 minutes. And I believe we'll get that down even lower. And that is unheard of. In software, generally, if you get back to people within 24 hours, it's kind of a good thing. And so we've made a big conscious effort to make sure our chat is very fast. If you, for some reason, the AI can't answer your question, and over 80% of questions are resolved. And the same thing as with Jobber, really good UI and AI to scrub the help articles and give you what you need when you need it from just a support perspective in chat. But I have seen Jobber be, from my experience, pretty good on chat. They're just limited on the phone and the video a little bit. Service Autopilot, trash support. Trash. Absolutely horrible. I'm sorry I have to say it. Horrible. You cannot get through to a human. The AI bot stinks so far, at least. They rolled it out last year as a big deal, and it was pretty useless. If you want to make changes to your account, good luck. Good luck trying to take users on or off, downgrade or upgrade, cancel. Good luck. You live on your credit card just to get any sort of support when you're canceling their account. So I think that from a support perspective, Homeworks is going to be the most niche and custom. We do white glove onboarding. We will get all of your customers set up for you. We have an onboarding process that actually includes talking to me directly, talking to, there's 5 or 6 calls throughout the first year. And we're gonna make sure you're actually utilizing the system and the software because we have a 365-day money-back guarantee. Jobber and Service Autopilot will never do this. If you use the software at the enterprise level subscription, and after a year, you don't increase revenue or profit by 10%, we will give you all of your money back. Now, to make sure that happens, we coach you in addition to just using the software. We make sure you're actually utilizing upsells and text blasts. And we have calls with myself, with the support team, with the success. You're actually using the functionality of the software to grow your business. And yes, we have had a couple people that we have given their money back because at the end of a year, they didn't grow their business. But the vast majority, 99.99%, grow their business by at least 10% in revenue or profit. And because of that guarantee, it really holds us accountable to supporting you, not just in the software, but actually growing your business. How do you actually utilize your business? Because no one gets software for fancy buttons and cool and features. That's not why you get software. You get software to make more money, grow your business in revenue, and grow it in profit. And so if it's not doing that, we want to give you your money back. And we make sure it happens by having a really solid onboarding process and great support. All right, let's talk about the future of these softwares. Because in my opinion, when it comes to software in general, you don't want to necessarily look at where the software is now, but where it's going. Because you don't want to have to switch softwares in 5 years. And if you're growing your business, maybe at $200,000, $300,000 in annual revenue, if you want to grow $1 million business, you don't want to have to swap at $1 million. It's a pain in the butt. And we had to switch over 150 couple years ago, 120 locations a couple years ago, and to be Homeworks. And it's a pain in the butt. It stinks. And especially the bigger the business, when you have thousands of contacts you're moving over, and it tokens over and connect it inside of Copilot. But if you're not using Stripe and you're using like Clearant from Service Autopilot, they aren't going to give you your credit card information for your customers. And so it's a pain. You lose all that information. It stinks. And so you want to think about the future of the software. And I kind of have behind the curtain information on this because I know the founders of most of these softwares in the industry or know a lot about their capital structure and the owners. And so for Homeworks, I own 100% of the company, and it's either employees or myself in terms of Homeworks. And we aren't going anywhere. We don't have any private equity. No one else, there's no debt on the company. I don't have anyone telling me what features I need to build. I listen to the members, listen to the users, all of our product teams, all of our designers. We listen to our customers, and we build the best thing for the home service business owner. Okay? We do not have any private equity. There's no outside shareholders, no one telling us what to do. There's no one with a 5-year shot clock of we got to raise the next round, or we've got to burn so much money, or we've got to do something crazy for the stock market or for private equity to get their next round. That's not happening. Jobber still has both their founders, which I'm super excited about. It is my guess they own less than 10% of the company. They have raised rounds of capital about 5 times. They've raised hundreds of millions of dollars. They're a huge company. They're doing around $170 million in annual revenue, but they have raised hundreds of millions of dollars from multiple venture capital as well as private equity. One of their most recent rounds was like $200 million they got. When they do that, they're giving away massive chunks of the business. Now, these private equity firms do not care about your home service business. They don't. I don't care what they say. They don't. They are committed to making sure that their general partners and their limited partners get a return on their money within the next 5, 7, or 10 years. And so seeing what happened with Service Autopilot with private equity gives me a huge warning when it comes to Jobber. And that's why we really couldn't move into it and we had to build Copilot, is because I saw what was happening. They raised $200 million. That was our last round. And the direction of the founders owning such a small percent of the business leads me to know that there will be another raise. There will be, okay, we got to raise more money. And that the reason for that is private equity. It's not the founders. They're great people. I actually really like them. The team there is great. But I can't confidently say they're going to be around forever. And I know they're going to have to eventually sharpen the sword for they go public or they sell the private equity. Which of those I don't know which one they're going to do. But either way, when that happens, not if, but when it happens, it is going to be exactly what happened with Service Autopilot. Now, what happened with Service Autopilot is crazy. Once the founders left and private equity moved in, support got cut, innovation dropped off a cliff, there was no new features happening, and when you look at the features that we've rolled out in just the past 6 months at Homeworks, if you go to the Copilot CRM YouTube channel, you can see all the stuff we've released in the past few months. Like, no level of speed. And no one's coming to that level of execution for what home service business owners really need, which is to stop paying gobs of money on ads and rely on their software to generate leads for them without extra cost and be able to run operations smoothly. And Service Autopilot has not built anything new. They have not built anything meaningful. Their support continues to slide, and they're very old architecture. And so now knowing a lot about the behind the scenes of and where these cloud platforms are at, Service Autopilot is still built on a very old architecture that is huge security as well as reliability. And so whenever they say like, hey, we're going down for the next few days, we're doing some server upgrades, that's a huge red flag because AWS and Azure allows for auto scaling, and they should be able to do that. I happen to know behind the scenes of what the stuff they're using, and that architecture does not scale, and they whatsoever to make the hard upgrades and tear that system out and make upgrades to their servers, because they're just running the financial engineering arbitrage of a private equity firm that raises prices, cuts support, and cuts innovation. And the fact is, there's no leadership there. At least they're still around. They own a small, tiny fraction of the company, but like at least they're around. Service Autopilot, they're multiple times in the past few years. It's just people that are being shoved in from Explore, which is their holding company. And Explore owns Clearant. Clearant is a processing company, owns Service Autopilot. It's a combobulated mess, and they're just shuffling people around leadership. There's no continuity. There's no, like when I went to their conference back at SA4 about 8 years ago, it was fantastic. There was like 500-600 people. It was so much energy and community. Now, they're lucky if they get 150 people to an event, and there's no energy. They bring in Cardone Enterprises to do training, and it's horrible. There's no community. There's no future. I was on a webinar with them recently, and like there's no direction for that company, and there's no leadership. And I talked to all of their leadership team in a circle in 2023 and said, look, if this doesn't change, I have to go start something else. That's actually what caused Copilot, soon to be Homeworks, to get started, is because I had this meeting and I just realized, oh, this is going nowhere. Like this software is not going anywhere anytime soon, ever. And so that's the future of those three companies, in my opinion. All right, so now let's get to the brass tacks, and then I'm going to answer questions in the chat. So if you have questions in the chat below, just ask your questions and I will answer them. Whether it be about software, which one you should use, pros and cons. But this is the best time of year to switch your software and be able to take your business to the next level. So which one should you use? So 5, this is what I would have said, okay? That is, if you were a solo operator between $0 and $250,000 in annual revenue with no employees, Jobber was by far and away the best software to use, not even close. If you were between $250,000 and $750,000, or the working GM size, 1 to 8 employees, that's when I would have said Copilot would be a fit, or Jobber, one of the two. Then Service Autopilot, $750,000 all the way up to $3 million plus, I would have said to use Service Autopilot. Okay. After 2025, so as we head into 2026, this whole video is which is the best software to use. I still believe that Jobber is the best software if you're gonna grow your business as a solo operator and stay under $250,000 annual revenue, mostly because their mobile app dominates. It's so simple to use, and as a solo operator, you're doing most of the work out in the field while you're on your mobile phone. So I would still recommend them. If you're wanting to grow past a solo operator, that's when I think Homeworks and Jobber start to become something you think about. Once you pass $750,000 in annual revenue, that's where I think Homeworks' advanced features, the mass texting, the dispatch board, the custom automations, that's where that's where I think it starts to carry so much weight that I would fully recommend it once you're growing past 750. Again, if you might be in the 250, 300 range, but if you're gonna get to $1 million, I would do it smaller versus having to peel off that very difficult band-aid when you're at $1 million in revenue and have a lot more customers to transfer over. Now, if you're doing over $5 million in annual revenue, or you're doing projects that are 6 figures, they're expensive options. Single Ops and LMN recently came together underneath Granum, which is, again, owned by private equity. I do not have any faith whatsoever in their future because they've now been purchased by private equity. Mark Bradley, phenomenal founder of LMN, not there anymore. And so I can't put my name behind it because I just know what private equity does. They just ruin companies. They will go in, they will cut support, they will raise prices, and they will not add anything. I don't care if you raise your prices. If you can, like some of these companies, it's $1,000 or $2,000 a month. A spot, look at $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month. But if it saves me time and they're investing, but they're just not once they're owned by private equity. So LMN and Single Ops now owned by Granum, but these are software built for bigger projects, a lot more job costing and other functionality in terms of what they can do. Cool. So if you're interested in joining Copilot, soon to be Homeworks, you can book a call with Christian. Christian is actually my personal trainer from back in the day. He used to work at my gym, and then he became the sales and consulting head here at Copilot. So highly recommend book a call straight to the website and sign up. Again, you have a 365-day money-back guarantee if you join Enterprise and you don't grow your business by at least 10% in revenue. I'm so because of the features like mass texting and the video feature and the upselling feature and deposits and like even like the pay in full feature, the ability to improve your cash flow by customers being able to pay in full whenever there's a deposit option. Guess what? 15% or so of your customers are going to just pay every estimate in full because they've done for 10 years and they trust you. That helps your cash flow dramatically. So little things like that, I think, is where I really believe in the future of Copilot, soon to be Homeworks. If you have any questions below, though, let's jump into it. So in the chat, I'm going to hop over into the chat. Give me 1 second here. And I should be able to answer any questions about joining Copilot, soon to be Homeworks, a Service Autopilot, Jobber, any other software programs. I'm happy to answer, and I'll let you know if I don't think Copilot is the best fit for you now. I'm happy to do that, and I'll just be honest. So as much as I am biased, I will try my best to tell you what is the best software for you or things to look out for. All right, welcome everybody. Is there any free trial you can offer if I switch from Jobber to Copilot? So there is a free version of Copilot, and it is up to 50 customers. All right, so in 2026, we are going to make sure that our pricing is a little bit more similar to other compares by bundling some of the users, like mobile users, because like everyone just thinks this is a discounted product. So our highest price, and everyone else is like $600, $900 a month. We will eventually bundle some users into that so that you don't have to be up and down and changing every single month, and your bills stays the same, but also so that people somehow think we're discounted and cheaper and different than Service Autopilot and Jobber. So we are going to do that. And when we do that, we are likely going to unlock a lot more features for the free tier. So right now you can get up to 50 customers completely free inside of Copilot. There's just a lot of feature limitations. Like you don't have custom automations. You don't have the sequence automations. You have some custom automations. You don't get email and text messages. So there's a lot of feature restrictions, but you can get in there, check it out, see how it feels, and you can actually jump on a call with me on a Zoom call if you get in the free trial. So you could definitely do that. And yeah, up to 50 customers though. All right, someone said, trusted lawn care. Service Autopilot is taxing. Nobody try to contact them for pricing. We using Copilot in this mug. All right. We'll be posting after. I only catch the beginning. Yeah, this will be posted on my YouTube channel. You can catch the recording if you want. Let's see here. Is it possible to email me the sign up? Yeah, if you just go to copilotcrm.com, go to the pricing page, you can sign up from there. We joined in beginning of December. I urge you all to join. Super simple setup. Support team is awesome, and there's so many great automations. Thank you, Gold Standard. I really appreciate it. I can tell you the onboarding process is only going to get better. In February, we're switching from Copilot over to Homeworks. And when we do that, there's not going to be we don't want to make it where it's hard to use in Spring Rush. So we're going to go page by page by page as we implement the new user interface. That being said, what will change dramatically is the onboarding process and really making sure you get set up, you understand the system. There's a lot of things the team is working on right now, and it's one of our major focuses. Existing members, that's not going to affect you, and we don't want February, March, you don't want a bunch of changes to your software. You want things to go pretty smooth for your admin team during Spring Rush and not having to be training them new stuff. But one thing, when we do switch over to Homeworks in February, you will see a ton of changes on the onboarding side. But thank you to Gold Standard, appreciate that. Thinking about switching from Jobber. Can anyone in the comments vouch for the switch? If you switch yourself, you're doing around 300K. So Thrive Lawn Care, if you're at 300K, you are at the exact size where you're right in between my recommendation of Jobber and Homeworks. I would anticipate, if I was you, if you were to join Copilot, it would feel a little bit harder to learn. It's not as intuitive yet in terms of interface as Jobber. It's not. It's not as simple. The mobile app is not as good yet. I think that we will catch up in all of those things in the next 6 to 12 months. However, if you're planning to grow past 300,000, I would make the switch. If you're going to go to like 6, 7, 800,000, definitely do it. If you're going to stay at 300 and you just don't like software and it's a bit of a pain to move over, just leave it. Don't worry about it. Like Jobber's fine. The one thing I would say though, like if you can mass text your customers, you'll probably turn off all your marketing. And so like my location, we don't spend money on ads. And before we had the texting feature, we spent $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month on Google ads, Facebook ads, door hangers, etc. Once we got texting inside of Copilot and you could mass text, we don't spend any money on ads. So I'm saving $3,000 to $5,000 a month on ads by just being able to text people. So the big more return by having those texting and it being included. Whereas like the smaller companies like Thrive, if you, let's just say you have 500 customers, you're not going to get 50 estimates if you text everyone, but you might get 10, probably get 12. And I give you all the text templates inside of Copilot. So if everyone joins, make sure you download what we call the Power Pack. It's inside of the community, the marketplace. I've created all those emails, all those text messages, all those automations. There's over 100 templates and designs that I've built myself and vetted. You can use those. It's completely free. Even if you sign up for the included. So I'd recommend using it. Thrive, if you're gonna grow more, I would do it. If you're gonna stay at 300,000 and you're comfortable in Jobber, you're not trying to grow much, and you're not interested in a video feature, mass texting, then you probably don't need to switch over. Mike, can you talk on why having shareholders is a bad thing? Like a bigger CRM has. Seems like a good thing to keep your shareholders happy, right? Yeah, the bottom line though is shareholders don't have any interest in your business. That's the bottom line. And so private equity doesn't business at all. I know this for a fact. There's a reason, like we went through so much hell in 2023 and 2024 growing the company, and I spent gobs of money, like everything I had to be able to grow the company, but I did not want private equity involved. And trust me, they were beating down the door to give me money, millions of dollars. And it would have been way easier. Is to give up about 50 to 60% of the business, be able to get $5 to $10 million and be able to get out of bug hell without me putting every dollar I had into it. But the reason we didn't is because I saw what happens when people get private equity involved. You are on a shot clock of 5 years to your next raise of capital, whether it be private equity or venture capital or going public. And so even when we go public in 8 to 10 years down the road, I will own the majority stake ownership. And so if you look at like even what Elon did with his pay package, he's just trying to get 25% so he can get control of the company again. That's what he's trying to do. He actually doesn't care a whole lot about making, like his life is not going to meaningfully change when he go from 750 billion to 1.5 trillion dollars. It's not. He wants control of the company. And so publicly traded company, you need 25%. I will have more than 70% when we go public. And everyone else, all the other will be owned by team members that are working on this product every single day. And so there will be no private equity, there's no venture capital, there's no debt, and by having other stakeholders, there are artificial things being thrown in the cake, into the mix. For example, if someone's sharpening their sword to go into going public and they have private equity involved, they will cut support and they will cut features dramatically. If they are just optimizing to sell it, they are going to optimize for profit for 12 to 24 months and then sell it to private equity. I happen to believe this is going to happen. The parent company of Service Autopilot is Explore. I believe they're going to try to go public. They already tried to go public, but because the market changed in 2022, they stopped. But I think they'll go public in the next 1 to 2 years. So you're going to continue to see them cut support, raise prices, and try to make as much, squeeze every dollar out of people as possible. When it comes to what we're trying to do, I'm trying to build this business for the decades. I'm not going anywhere. And so every dollar we is going directly into more designers, more engineers, more support, more tools, because I actually care about your business. And I also have 200 plus locations of my own. People that I love, I care about, I know their families, I talk to them every single day. I need this software to be the best in the world. And so any outside influence on that mission, in my opinion, is bad. One man's opinion. Do you plan on keeping your processing fees the same down the road though? Yeah, I do not believe it is right to make gobs of money on the processing and then use the golden handcuffs of the software to keep you locked in. And that's what Service Autopilot does. They have the 1% on ACH, but they don't cap it. So literally, if you do a big project, $50,000, 1%, that's $500 you're paying on an ACH transaction. That's capped at $5. So we are 99% cheaper at Copilot compared to Jobber on that one thing. That just paid for your subscription right there. And so these are the things that like you got to realize these software companies make money outside of the subscription. They make money on the processing. And so, yeah, just keep that in mind. All right. Use Jobber. Scared we could outgrow in a couple years down the line. Yeah, like if you're trying to grow past 300,000, I would consider definitely using Copilot, soon to be Homeworks. If you are tired of spending a bunch of money on ads, like if you would look at your ads right now, David, I believe your name from Thrive. If you look at your ads right now, you're spending more than $400 or $500 a month. You could immediately get rid of all of that just by having Copilot. So you're gonna pay $279 a month. You're gonna have some mobile users. Let's just call it $500 a month. If you have like 8, 10, 15 employees, $500 a month, and you're gonna send out text messages and never spend money on ads again. And even if you're using Jobber and you have to go pay for MailChimp to get connected and spend, let's just call it $300, still better than spending thousands of dollars on marketing every month. So, highly recommend it. All right, Mike, is it possible to track pool chemical ready dosages and how much we are spending in chemicals on Copilot? Okay, so 2 things. We just added the feature inside of the mobile app, Field Force, called Visit Forms. So you can do drop downs, checklists, fields. So your crew could have a field or a form they have to fill out after every job. You could use that. There are several things in chemical tracking that we are still trying to nail. And if you have over 500 chemical clients, I would probably wait a little bit longer for Copilot. We have several things that we think are going to be good. We just added the wait list, which is a big step in the direction of being able to accept a package and then have it just sitting there and not be on the calendar. Super valuable. It's the first step in the direction of several features we think are needed for bigger chemical clients. So if you do chemicals and you do chemical tracking, I think if you have 100, 200 customers, you're going to be fine. When you start getting 500 plus, there are still some limitations in Copilot, and I would wait a little bit longer. I think that this time next year would definitely be ready, but there are about 3 or 4 that we've seen, like Real Green, Spray, even Aurora from a snow perspective. There's a few features around chemical tracking and snow that we still need to add, and those will be coming in 2026. How many property videos will it save? That's amazing, though. Happy man, 5389. So we have no cap on this right now. We haven't seen anyone abusing it. We have software inside of the video functionality to compress the file. So when you take the video inside and you attach it to the property, there is no limit outside like a number of videos. You can do as many as you want. The only thing we cap is 500 megabytes. Now, if you're shooting in 720, that's around 12 to 13 minutes. If you're just shooting 1080p, high definition, it's about 7 or 8 minutes. That's a long video. But we do not cap, as of right now, how many files are inside. I don't ever want to, but what I think might happen way down the road, if someone is using it like hundreds of videos a day, we'd have to just say, like, hey, you get like some cap, but I never want it to be where it's tiered for video. I want you to use the business exponentially. But property videos. The nice thing about property videos, I mentioned like updates around projects, equipment, estimate videos. Another really cool thing, especially we use it a lot at Command Center, is if they have a property video, we can answer questions for the customer on the phone without having to talk to the crew if we can watch the video of the property. So if on your initial service of a property, you just tell your crew, hey, I want you to go around on 0.5 on your lens and just walk around the entire property, 30 to 60 seconds, attach it to the property inside of Copilot. Now your office staff can see the entire property, the backyard, behind the hedge. They can see everything. And so they a lot of times will be able to answer a lot of questions for customers without having to bother the people out in the field, simply because we have the video of the property now. So super useful. Thrive says, we have a dedicated phone number with Jobber that we use a ton to communicate with clients via SMS. From what I understand, we have to switch to a new DPN. How should I handle this if I switch? So this is what we thought was gonna be a big deal, because we had Service Autopilot and had our texting number. We thought we kept Service Autopilot open for 6 months before closing out the subscription completely, in part because I had an annual subscription, not gonna lie, and they were gonna penalize me dramatically, so I just kept the thing. But also, I was like, I don't wanna lose any text messages. If I remember correctly, we probably went back in our old account 3 to 5 times in the first 6 months just to look at like invoices or estimates or property notes from years ago. And that's why moving from another software, I would keep the base level subscription for a few months until you feel very comfortable you don't need to go back and see notes or something from the way in the past. But the fact that less than 3 people text us on that number. Why? First off, we changed January 1st. Not a lot of text messages going out. And when someone in 3 months from now is like, I need to use that service, they're just gonna go to the one that you've recently messaged them on. So when you get your text messages, set them inside Copilot, just send a mass text to everyone, because now you can do that. And it's gonna be like, hey, this is our new number, and then don't just waste it on this is our new number. We wanted to go ahead and promote spring cleanups for our dedicated customers, and it's gonna be 25% off for the first 20. We know that we get super busy in March and April, so we wanna pull that, give you priority access in February. So I would mess, but time people will go to that message to communicate with you in the future. So I have not seen the SMS thing be an issue at all. Okay, next question. If I run a SMAA company, would Homeworks be relevant for my business model? We only offer recurring revenue services, so monthly payment plans and such. Homework seems better versus using multiple apps. Yeah, for service businesses, if you're doing social media marketing, yes, it works. We use it for our franchise. So we have 200 plus locations. We do all of our billing. We do all of our tracking, everything through Copilot also. But it's really built, like the dispatching, all the automations, it's really built around home services and dispatching and field service. But the automations are triggers. You can still connect it to Zapier. Like you can do so much functionality. And so yes, we still use it for something similar to what you're talking about here. I'm signed up with Copilot today just because the fact that you are an owner and everything you've done for us been nothing but a light to our steps. Obvious this service is made by the people for the people. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Realistically, the reason I started Copilot is because I want to be like, I'm committed to this industry for my career. And I know that software is so important to systematization of a business. And so when I see all of the software being bought up by private equity and stalling out, that's a huge problem. And I knew going into it, there was going to be so much pain, especially in the first year or two. And it was. But now the team is solid. Now we have a really solid team that's moving very quickly. And I'm like so confident in the next several years that it's become so painfully obvious that we have the right intention for the owners. And that's all I care about. And so I really appreciate everyone that joins. And thank you, Modesty Lawn Care, sign up today. I appreciate that because ultimately how I look at all of this is every dollar I make is used to make tools or services for home service business owners so they can get rich. My whole goal is to make home service business owners rich. And every dollar I make, whether it be a book, whether it be the franchise, whether it be the software, all of that is used to just help home service business owners make more money. And so when it comes to software, it's like I have to get money to be able to pay engineers and top talent. And every dollar though that goes towards the subscription is used, more than every dollar, is spent on that. And every day I am in contact with hundreds of home service business owners inside of Augusta and across the country, across the world, across all different types of industries. About 40% of people using Copilot aren't even in the green industry. Electricians, plumbers, pool services, janitorial, all over. And so every day I'm in touch with them. We have a mind with the owners inside of Copilot. So if you have questions for me about your business or marketing, like every week I do a live stream and a mastermind with the owners once you're inside a Copilot. I know for a fact that's not happening at any other CRM in the home service industry because they just want your subscription and they just want to see you as a number. And I just want to see your business grow. And that's why we have money back guarantee. And no one else will do that. That's on the mastermind and in the onboarding, you talk to me is because you're not talking to the founder. You're not getting a 365-day money-back guarantee on their software. I can guarantee you that. And so that is why we started, and I appreciate the support tremendously. Thanks for signing up today. Gain on social. Yeah. Chow Mayor told Gain on social, the small SMA to use go high level. I think I agree with that probably. Go high level is definitely great for small marketing agencies, etc. Especially because you can white label and like sell it to your customers, etc. So, yeah. Let's see here. Oh, the audio's messing up. That's no good. Okay, let's see here. 1 second. We got a bunch of questions coming in. Okay. Thank you, Mike, for all the information. We run a company at the moment almost close to $750K yearly and plan to switch over from Jobber to Copilot in 2026. Would you recommend a SMAA company using Homeworks also? So you're asking like, oh, I say, would you recommend? No, I don't work with any like media companies to do my marketing or anything like that. Rebranding looks amazing, by the way. You mentioned the videos will be able to save for the property notes. Is there a limit on video amount and length? How is it organized and how will it be used by employees and the business? Happy Man asked me this. So right now from the Fieldforce mobile app or from inside of the CRM, like the desktop, you can attach videos to property, to visits, to meetings, like anytime you're showing up at a customer's property, a visit, maintenance, all of those things can have a video attached. The thing that we want to improve in the future is for the video to automatically move across disciplines. For example, I go to a meeting with a customer and I attach a video. And then from that, I make an estimate. And then the estimate gets accepted, a job gets scheduled. Right now, I'd have to go take this video and say, okay, great, it got accepted, I got to put it over here. We're wanting to make it where it's more of a media center where that video is attached to the estimate automatically. And then when the job gets accepted, it automatically moves the video over. So there's a bunch of refining we're trying to do there. But in terms of limits, the only limit right now is 500 megabyte file size, which again is over 10 minutes of HD video. There are no other caps. And so no one's getting close to the threshold. I think someone has to really try to abuse that for me to ever be like, hey, we have to charge a little bit here. But it does cost us. Like the reason a lot of these softwares don't do this with the video is a video file could be 500 megabytes and what's one file? And if you have 10 or 15 of those a day, we're talking about 5 gigabytes of storage. Yes, it's a lot of server space. And that's why like something like Company Cam costs you $20, $30, $40 per user. And for my business, it's gonna cost over $300 for that. But like video is so powerful. So we were doing like WhatsApp links, we were doing Google Drive, we were doing YouTube, we were using Dropbox back in the day and trying to like share links and stuff like that. Better. And it is very smooth. And even if you're offline and you attach the video, it'll just wait until you're back online again and upload then. So very solid. And there's video. Like I love video for upselling and a whole bunch of stuff. I should probably add that we do recurring maintenance and snow removal flat rate subscription model. Van Green, did you ask a question before this? Let me just check. Sorry, I missed. Okay. Yeah, so like you're probably going to want to use the the functionality around the contracts where you're like level billing all the time. So we call level billing inside of Copilot, where you're going to set the monthly price, doesn't change, and then inside of that you can add visits, have different budget hours, etc. Okay, one thing that I think Copilot is the best at is budget hours. It is across the entire system because if you read the book, if you listen to any of my content, you know the importance of budget hours. Whether you want to do pay for performance, whether you want to track efficiency scores, whether you just want to know which of your employees are more efficient, you got to have budget hours. And so we have budget hours throughout the entire system, on the calendar, on the dispatch board, on every single visit, every single meeting, everything has budget hours. We track every time you make a visit what your budget hour capacity is for the next 4 weeks to make sure you don't overbook yourself. Budget hours is through the system. And we need that so that if you use pay for performance, it automatically syncs over and there's no double entry whatsoever. So budget hours is so fundamental to be able to schedule accurately, to be able to have good data for your team and just manage the team. And so that's really, it's on the weekly view of the calendar, the monthly view. It shows the breakdown of budget hours for one-time jobs versus recurring jobs every single week. So you just know if you're above how many budget hours your crew can do. You say, hey, well, my crew going to do 30 budget hours a week. Great. There's 3 employees. That's 90 budget hours. It's going to go yellow as soon as it hits about 80 budget hours. It's going to be like, hey, warning, we're getting above close to capacity. And it also breaks it down by recurring budget hours as well as one-time jobs budget hours. Because how you schedule that would be different. If it's a recurring job, you're putting it on no matter what. If it's a one-time job, you got to make sure it's on a certain day or a certain person's working on it. So budget hours are really the foundation of the entire system. Are there plans to introduce an automation that would allow bulk switching clients from weekly to bi-weekly schedules? Nathan, I'd have to see exactly what you're trying to do. We did just release last week saved routes, which might do what you're trying to ask, which is basically save people to a weekly or every other week schedule and kind of lock it in. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, or if you're just talking about mass moving. You can do that from the dispatch board now. So talk to support if you're inside of there now, Nathan. I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to do. I don't think there's an automation that would make that happen, but you could do it. Like if you're like, hey, I just want to like lock in this weekly or this bi-weekly or move these visits in bulk, you can do that. I don't think there's an automation that moves the visits though. So you just have to talk to support and they'll see if it's something you can do. Can you talk on the saved routes on Homeworks? I hate jobbers routing right now. Okay, so I think dispatch board, I think that we're behind them, and then jobbers kind of really simple, but it starts to fall apart when you start having 5, 10, 15 trucks out on the road. So save routes and Homeworks is if you have a weekly or bi-weekly schedule that happens pretty much the same route, I don't want you to have to optimize it every single day when it's basically the same route. So what you do is you select your route for the week and you click, instead of just optimize, you save it for the week. Or you can save it for every 2 weeks. And it allows you to see on the map, it locks in that route. Now, if you add one more, what's gonna happen next week, you show up, that route's gonna be the same, but then you're gonna have this one that's not routed, and then you just find where you want it to go, save it, and again, it'd put that visit into the route. So it's not like master routes. That's what some people use inside that terminology in Service Autopilot. It's not that, where I can actually create outside of the dispatch board and kind of like finagle it where things are at, and then I kind of copy the master route in. It's not that. We're working on something like that, but save route, make sure you're not having to optimize the same route. You assign to the same people every single week or every 2 weeks. So, thoughts on House Call Pro? Also, if we grow past 3 million, why wouldn't Copilot be compared to maybe Aspire? Okay, so House is very much like Jobber in my opinion, very simple, super basic, very optimized for like mobile. Interface is very clean. There's just functionality that starts to fall apart as you begin to grow. I think almost everything I said about Jobber could be said about House Call Pro in terms of ease of use, ease of simplicity. It's just as you begin to scale, you need to start connecting it. Like if you want to do mass text, if you want to do video, like you're starting to add so much on there, it gets very, very expensive. That's kind of my assessment. They're very much like Jobber. I'm also concerned about the way they're owned too with private equity. If we grow, why wouldn't Copilot be compared to maybe Aspire? Aspire, you're looking at a minimum of $2,000 to $3,000 a month to use their software, and so it only makes sense once you start getting 4 or 5 million, and they're going to be way more expensive than us. If you had, let's just call it 25 employees times 15. You're still only gonna be like $700, $800 per month at Copilot. Maybe let's just be generous, $900 with all the mobile users. You'd be paying easily $3,000 to $4,000 with Aspire. So they've gone way up market. And I am passionate about making millionaires. I'm not passionate about making deca millions, millionaires in home service. If you have that level of sophistication, like again. If you're building a $5, $10 million business and you think that Aspire is going to give you a 10% edge compared to Copilot, you can go from spending that $1,000 a month to $3,000 or $5,000 a month, and it's okay. It's not. I am concerned about getting the person that's at 250, a solo operator, past $1 million and between 1 to 3 million. And I think that our software right now is built for someone that's doing around 3 million. And this year with Pricebook, Instant Quotes, and some other things that we're adding, I think it'll allow for people up to about 5 to 8 million. And I think that we will probably, around 10 million, that's probably where I'm like, hey, if you need super sophisticated things above 10 million, we're not ready for you. Because honestly, my passion's not for that person. And it's not that I don't love them. It's not that I don't think great about their businesses. Awesome. Like I mostly care about the person that I was at 18 to 21 and what I have become now, and trying to get more people to that stage, which is $250,000 to $3 million in annual revenue. And I think we can easily, over the next 12 months, get to that $5 to $8 million marker. So that's really what my focus is. And I'm not interested in going after $50 million contracts and making $30,000 a month from them. That's not going to be what Homeworks is. I'm built for the operator, the person that has $1 million to $3 million business that wants to grow it beyond that, and that's going to be my focus. I would vouch for Copilot and founder best customer service in the industry. Thank you, Sally. I appreciate that. The support team here has been dramatically improved the past year. We really increased the investment on the support side, and mostly, I'll be honest, just be full transparency, I saw how bad everyone else's was. I'm like, we should just make this our strength. Because the first, if you watched the video from last week, I talked about this. We were trying to minimize the cost of support as much as possible, because I'm like, we got to build more features. We got to make, we got to make the dispatch board better. We got to make the wait list and unscheduled work, and we got to make the Field Force app, and we got to change payments and like all the things that we did in 2025. And then I realized that like Jobber doesn't allow. And I know it costs us way more for video support, because someone's got to be live. They got to be way more trained to be able to do live video versus chat. We've got to get an office. We got to get people in-house. Like, there's so much more cost, but it was like, we're going to be different because we will show that we care by the way that we support. And when it comes to ultimately what we're is a serving the customer. And so if support stinks, we're not serving. And so that's why we made a big investment into it. Glad you were able to experience that, Sally. Team at the support side is fantastic. These processing fees might be one of the biggest reasons I switched. I didn't realize Copilot was so much cheaper on that end. So I don't care if you're using Jobber, just to be clear, we're the exact same on credit card processing. It's ACH, where you'll save hundreds of dollars at least a month on inside of Copilot, because we just cap it at the $5. And on the back end, that's exactly what Stripe does to us. They charge us 0.8%, and then they charge, they cap, just pass that along to you. So it's very save more in their ACH processing fees per month than their subscription of Copilot. It happens all the time. So yeah, if you're doing over 30 to 40,000 a month, you will save more in processing just because of the ACH stuff than your entire subscription at Copilot. Scrape $175K this year and looking to grow the season. Been using Yardbooks. Is Copilot for us at this point? I would say, Scraper, that it is for you only if you're going to grow past 250. So if you're continuing to grow, yes. I think that the vast majority, everyone listening here, I would it and just know you can cut that in half. Switch to Copilot. So if this is a money game, if like, I don't know if it's worth it, like, should I you double or triple the amount of leads you're getting for nothing? Like, it costs you nothing. Like, within 2 weeks, you'll be set up inside Copilot. You'll have all your contacts in there. We will do it for you. Within a couple weeks, we will import up. You'll have a message that will go out to your customers, and you will pay for your entire year subscription with one text message. And so, like, I just believe in this stuff. And I think that we are finally at the point where I can say that this is a no. In 12 months, it's going to become obvious. So I said from the get that it would take me 5 years for. So we are year 3, okay? I think in 12 to 24 months, it's going to become obvious. But we've eclipsed the point now where, from a cost perspective, when you look at the texting feature, the fact of themselves, if you have like MailChimp and Company Cam, are going to cost you hundreds of dollars. Like, it's starting to become close to that. And so if you're 175, I would just look at your marketing budget. I would say, okay, if we could cut that in half, or it, but then get twice as many leads because you're texting and emailing all your customers from Copilot, big win. So again, if you like, the reason you'll notice, like, the one feature, the texting thing, I know it can grow your business so much. That's why I put the enterprise, or having the 300 guarantee. Why would I guarantee you all after we have done 6+ Zoom calls with you? I on onboarding, answering questions, doing masterminds with you. We help literally. Would I give you a money back guarantee if I didn't know that alone is worth you for MailChimp right now, $300+ a month. If you have, let's call a few thousand people and you send 2 text messages a month to all your customers, you spend more on SMS from MailChimp than your entire subscription inside Copilot. And there are people texting feature, let alone video and upsells and everything else that you can do. And so as we look into 2026, they're going to do that. People will use just that one thing and they'll make sense of the money. Like just the price competitive with something like LMN, like in terms of actually knowing your numbers, having a price book, being able to put things together, hiding line items inside of an estimate, etc. Instant quotes are going to completely revolutionize the way that you do sales, because you do not need to go. Not need someone to answer the phone and give a price over the phone. Why are you having someone spend 8 to 10 minutes over the phone collecting someone's information that from your website they can click a button and it pre-populates everything and they put a card on file? 24/7 to pay someone to answer the phone. So like instant quotes in and of itself, like when we like the way I'm talking about like some of my pet features right now, like texting, automations, upsells, in 12 months, just wait. And those things in and of themselves will be worth the subscription. Just itself. Because you will save thousands of dollars of having someone sit there and do nothing waiting for the phone to ring. Because you don't need it. People go. It doesn't cost you a penny. Okay. What did he say about the processing fees? Is QuickBooks no longer needed? You happy, man? QuickBooks is not needed. We do a one-way sync if you want to. But QuickBooks is not needed in terms of processing fees. That's from Stripe. We don't actually charge you anything. It's from Stripe. Audio is cutting. Why is the audio cutting? Have we fixed that? Let's fix that. Okay. Sounds like we fixed it. Shout out from Maritime Canada. We have a ton of Canadians joining last week. It was crazy. Christian, our head of sales, which you can book a call with him. He was in the Marines. And then behind him, he has a big U.S. flag and Marines flag. And he messaged me the other day. He's like, Mike, I'm getting all these Canadians. So a bunch of Canadians joining last week. Oh, it's great. Let's see here. I have another question. It's been my biggest hurdle, I believe. Will Homeworks also include my targeted hourly rate? And will it turn yellow if I'm getting close to missing the mark? So the mobile app, when someone punches in, it has how much time is remaining, and there's a timer that's going across, going towards their budget hours. If they cross the budget hours mark, it goes red, and therefore you would not be hitting your target hourly rate. So let's say is $80, and you're charging $80 per hour. That'd be one budget hour. As soon as you cross 1 hour on that job, same thing. You're doing dispatch and have hundreds of visits. You can quickly see with red and green the budget color based upon if you were above or below budgeted hours. I had to move to Gorilla Desk, Sally, since I changed to a subscription-based weed control and fertilization service with mowing, cleanups, and mosquito bundled in. There are restrictions in North Carolina. Okay. Yeah, so like there are a couple features inside of Gorilla Desk specifically that we really like when it comes to chemical and spraying. So it sounds like that's what you're really focused on around the mosquito side of things. So hopefully before you left Green Empire, you gave us some feedback in terms of what those couple things were, because it's likely there's about the 5 or 6 that we know of. But those are some of the things that we want to nail down to make sure that you don't have to leave. So sorry about that. Is homework worth it if you are working towards your first 10 customers? Mr. Garden, just get the free version. It's called Solo, and up to 50 customers, completely free. Also, if you're under 18 years old, it's free for the pro level. So we give that away to anyone that's a hustler and is a teenager. Will there be a budgeting sign to know my numbers more, how much I should be charging per man hour? So there's right now, but the thing that you're really looking for is the price book. And that's what's going to be coming out in 2026. And it'll allow you to build custom estimates much more accurately from your mobile device, and the ability to be able to really understand the math of the estimate instead of just right now where you kind of got to put together the numbers on the back end and then you give what's on the quote. The ability to put component parts together on the back end that then shows the reflective price to the customer is what we're working on for the price book. Sally says, big upgrade from Yardbook, and we liked Yardbook. Love their free version, terrible customer service in Yardbook. Okay. In the same boat as Scraper, going from 175K to 300K this year. I have 1,500 contacts in Yardbook. Do you think the features in Copilot will gaslight us to our goal before the spring rush? So you're 175, like if you're going from 175 to 300,000, there's two things you need. One is then you get a whole bunch of Google, making sure your website's optimized. If you want examples of that, homeservicewebdesign.com, go to our work page, shows you all the stuff we do. Just get examples and feedback or inspiration. Get great Google reviews, and then use the texting feature inside of Copilot, because I would imagine you probably have 500 or 600 contacts. When you send a text message out to them, and again, I have the templates inside of the, when you sign up for Copilot, you'll get the bundle inside the marketplace with all the templates and all my texts and all my emails that you can use. You'll notice messages for text messages. I'm not saying like $99 today is available. Like I'm like, what I do is I do, hi, first name. So, hi, Bob. Mike over at Augusta. We're coming up in the spring cleanup season. We usually book out 6 or 8 weeks. I wanted to send you a quick message, though, because I'm in your area tomorrow. I can give you a quote for free and make sure you get prioritized before we get filled up on the schedule. That will get responded to so. Out of 500 contacts, you will probably get 15, 20 estimates, which otherwise you would go out and you would go spend $500 on acquiring those customers from a lead source like Facebook or Google. Advertising would be a very high customer acquisition cost. So if I run Facebook ads and Google ads in the middle of winter, I'm not getting. Your customer acquisition cost could easily be $200 plus. Compared to spring, it might be 30 or 40 for marketing on those places. But because demand is low, customer acquisition cost is really high during the off season. Whereas if I message my customers with a season-specific offer during the off season, I can usually pull demand forward or push demand off of the fall and into the winter. So text and like communicating with the customers, in addition to just getting more upsells and getting more leads, you also are able to push demand forward or pull it back to be able to make sure you even out your off season much simpler. We just signed up for Homeworks and look forward to getting started with it. We have hit a small roadblock with what happens with our old data from Jobber and how should we save it for a future reference. Okay, Travis, 2 things. Number one, book a call with support because we can actually help you move everything over. And we also have some videos specifically for Jobber things over. So like definitely watch the video and then we can actually do it for you if you have any trouble. Also, you could just book a Zoom call and we'll just do it if you want to like, hey, I want to do it. Great. We will. Secondly, if you're inside Jobber, because they're connected to Stripe, if you're inside Yardbooks, they're connected to Stripe. For our engineers to manually connect tokens in Stripe to your customers inside Copilot. Now, I know that you can get 95 within a matter of 30 to 60 days without that, but if it's really important to you, we can connect the two. So you don't have to go ask for the credit card information. Again, talk through this process. It's something that we have to do manually on the engineer side. It'll take us a couple weeks, but if that's a big deal to you, like I don't want to lose my card inside Yardbooks or in Jobber, but please, we have to look in your account. It's a very manual process. In terms of your old data, Travis, I would just keep the open for 3 to 6 months. And once you haven't used it, like even opened it up for a month or two, then you're like, okay, we're good to go. We can close it out. I was going to cherry pick, go through and call each individual contact to fill the truck before spring. Would texting and Copilot close the same amount versus calling? So I would just do all of it, right? So Van Green, you're asking like, hey, you were going to call customers and try to fill the schedule. That is definitely the highest probability. And if you only had 100 contacts, I would do that. But if you have 5, it could take weeks. I'd rather do text and then call. And I would only call if I'm not busy. I happen to believe if you text all your customers with a personalized text message to all of them, you schedule. Again, like guys, like I only say this, like I don't spend money on advertising. We just send text messages out and we send emails. And if your business, the bigger it gets, the more leads you get from a text. Because, if a location has been around for, if you've been in business for 10 years, now all of a sudden you have 3,000 or 4,000 contacts. And some of those people never even did business with you. They just asked for an estimate and then said no. But if you stay in touch with them via text and email, all of a sudden they say yes a year and a half later. But you got to keep them warm. And so that's why I have all the text templates inside of Copilot, inside the Power Pack, that you can just download. It's all part of it's free. And that is because I just know it'll do your business. You will either A, stop having to spend money on ads, or B, you will be able to double the size of your business. And so I just see too many people growing from $400,000 or $500,000 annual revenue to $1 million business in a year and a half inside Copilot. It's like, I know I speak with a lot of conviction, I speak with a lot of confidence, but I just see it all the time. I see people send out text messages and get 20 or 30 new customers immediately. They offer new something like Christmas lights or something in their off season like snow service, or they want to bundle things together, or they want to create like an offer at the beginning of the season to collect more cash up front. I just see it all the time, like people collecting $50,000 to $100,000 in one day because of a text message, and collecting all that revenue to be able to expand in the spring right at the beginning. I just see it all the time, and so like even when people are billing, I can go in their account and I can be like, oh my word, they made $100 because it happens all. So let's see here. Definitely switching today. I believe in this man's mission. Thank you, Thrive Lonker. I appreciate it. You're the man. First 50 free. Take notes, ladies and gentlemen. This is how to business. I appreciate all your work and content, man. Yeah, like, look, I'm not Mother Teresa. When I give you 50 customers, I know that you will grow your business inside the software and you will upgrade. And like, obviously we aren't a non-profit. Make money, be able to pay really good, talented engineers. And we spend more than every dollar we make, we spend more than $1 run the company. And we will continue to invest every dollar that we have. And if you join at 50, you will okay, it makes absolute sense for me to like try to skirt around a couple $100 a month because I will make thousands more. And same thing with enterprise. Like I give you the 365-day money guarantee, not because I'm Mother Teresa, but because I believe it's going to work. I've seen it over and over. No other company will do it. He's on 365 days of software. Name one other company that does that. I don't even know of anyone outside of like in software in general that does 365 days of money back guarantee. And we do all the onboarding for free. And we send out text messages. So like we could very well lose lots of money on that deal. So just signed up. Do I need to book a call for onboarding or will someone reach out to me? Thrive Lonker, we will reach out to you, as well as if you go in the bottom right-hand corner, you're going to see a checklist. And one of those things will be like book a support call. It'll be to book your onboarding call with myself. Just go walk you through the whole process. Is there any somewhat hard figured date on the on my way button for crews to notify clients? Keaton, you're getting ahead. It's coming very soon, very soon. So we have upsells coming to the Field Force mobile app next, and then right behind that is going to be this. So in terms of hard set dates, I'm not going to give those out because that has always burnt me. But this is on our agenda for the team that works on the Field Force mobile app, and that's why you've seen like every 2 to 3 weeks we're adding something new to Field Force. It's because we have just for that functionality. So this is definitely on our horizon. It's the next. So how we did with Field Force when we released it in summer is we just got all the feedback and we're just working from the top of the most requested feedback down. So we got the video stuff in there. We got the visit forms in there. We got Spanish Force mobile app in there. We got signature blocks in there. We got a bunch of those sort of things. And very close on that list is on my way button to text the customer. We do texting templates as a workaround at the moment, but would be nice to have a seamless button with the jobs on the schedule page for the crews. Yes, Keaton, you'll be a very happy man soon. I'm not going to give you an exact date because it always burns me, but it is definitely on the horizon. Joined in March 2024. It was rough at first, but so glad we stuck through, and the new updates have been game changers too. No one out there helping the industry like Mike. Thank you. Thanks, Keaton. I appreciate it, brother. You're the man, brother. Thanks. Thank you, Mike and team. Texting and everything works in Canada. Yeah, so right now, great question. Everything is optimized for 3 countries, And even though there's a whole bunch of other countries using it, we optimize for US, Canada, and Australia. So if you're in UK, if you're in other countries, there are plenty of users in those countries. We just don't optimize for it. So there's parts of Europe, for example, that have very specific stuff around euros that sometimes isn't exact. So try the solo those 3 countries. Make sure it's going to be okay for you. But you can change like words of like the menu and things like that pretty easily. But yeah, right now we're just optimizing for US, Canada, Australia. We feel like if we start trying to do everybody, it just dilutes the product, and we start spreading our resources too thin. Right now, like we are finally hitting our stride the past 3 to 6 months, and we're just going to continue doing that. We swapped. This is Travis Brewer. We swapped in belief that Homeworks will continue to adapt the needs of the current day. Jobber seems very stagnant to us. Thank you. I appreciate it. On the way button was big for us in Jobber. Yes, Travis, we got you, brother. It's coming. I promise. It'll be really cool. Should I talk about that? I want to add on top of the on my way button, because the on my way button, if you don't know what they're talking about, is like from the mobile app, the crew will be like, hey, I'm on my way, and it asks like, hey, what's your ETA? 5, 10, 30 minutes, and then you click one, sends a text to the customer. Awesome, especially for things like unlocking gates, security, stuff like that. Fantastic. There's another level that is super inside Service Titan, which none of us are using because it is going to cost you thousands of dollars a month. But there's one feature in there that's really solid around the on my way that I'm not going to get. It's not going to be in version 1. Not going to come out here soon. But we for snow as well as this on my way notion. That's going to be really solid. This is from Keaton. We have yet to use Field Force, but we'll implement. Next question is, do employees need Copilot and Field Force or just the employee app? Great question, Keaton. Field Force is for your field crew. And I would say they do not need the Copilot mobile app that has all the functionality. Only if you are like a manager, if you're trying to do dispatch from out in the field, you can like turn your phone sideways in the Copilot CRM mobile app and get around email, et cetera, done. How I see it, field is going to be in Field Force. So everyone, the technicians, is going to be Field Force. My estimator or my manager is going to have both, just in case they need to do something more complex, and so they can attach videos to estimates. So from a meeting, be able to open it up, video right inside of the app, have it compressed. The video is now inside of the system. That for is managers or estimators. They could have both, but field technicians do not need both by no means. Super Mengoman, is this software good for home cleaning services? Yeah, it's the second most popular outside of lawn care and landscaping is cleaning. So it certainly does work. There are a couple softwares that do some very specific things just for cleaning services that just focus on cleaning. Look at those, see if those are necessary. I feel like 99% of what they do that is custom is actually just automations that they've made really specific to cleaning that you can do inside of Homeworks with just a little bit of custom automations. So talk to support if there's specific things like, hey, can it replicate this with automations or Zapier or something like that? We can help you with that for sure. How would you structure your service agreement in Copilot? PDF attachment, or is there a spot for service details and a spot for terms and conditions? Yeah, I would just do a PDF attachment. You can attach videos and files and pictures to a estimate. You could also put those inside their customer portal. So like if they have a signed doc, for example, you can put it inside the documents of the customer portal so they always can see it and they don't like call in and ask about their service agreement, for example. So we do every single estimate we send, because that way what happens is they have the estimate and then on the side panel, they can see attachments like videos, images, PDFs right there. Like it's really clean. And so we just have like our admin will be like, hey, this is Mike over at Augusta. Just got your estimate in from Steven, and we're going to go ahead and send it over right now. If you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, just go to the bottom, click accept, and we'll get you on the schedule. That goes right onto the estimate on the side panel so that when they see it right next to the estimate. It works great. Hiring our first employees this year. Any advice where to build onboarding kit? We are thinking Gusto as a payroll system. If you're using Gusto, they have some onboarding stuff for employees. I recommend Gusto and QuickBooks. Gusto is really clean user interface. I really like your interface. It's very simple. QuickBooks is nice because when you're doing your books inside QuickBooks, all of the like federal payments, taxes, FICA, all the rest of it comes out. It knows which employee it's going to. So it's really easy for but yeah, by the way, if anyone needs help with this sort of thing, you can book a 15-minute free call with Chelsea at Home Service CPA. Just go to homeservicecpa.com, go book a call with her. She's excellent. She's phenomenal. Taxes, payroll. Even if you just have some questions, you can book some time with her. Makes sense. Thank you again. When sending a new estimate package, Van Green. Okay, yeah. When you're sending, okay, I answered that one. Okay. Mr. A little off topic, but something I'm interested in is using service businesses to provide dignified work for people who are homeless and struggling as pillar of recovery process to work back into society. Have you seen this as a possibility? It seems only 1 degree of separation from the help you provide here. I appreciate it. Hiring and building employees. Yeah, so like, obviously I love to help people, and I think a lot of home service business owners do too. What you want to be careful of is that notion carry over to building the team, and you start doing things that could detriment the rest of the team. So what I mean with that is, hey, I want to help this person out. They're struggling with addictions or all these other problems in their life. But if they don't show up on time and they're letting the team down, you're responsible as the leader to let them go. If they show up and they have a negative impact on the rest of the team's performance, it's your responsibility as the leader to let them go. And it's not fun, that's not exciting, and out of the goodness of your heart, you might want to put up with it. But to the responsibility to your team, you have to cut the cancer from the team. Otherwise, the cancer just slowly saps the energy from the organism, and then the entire organism dies. And so the reason you do chemotherapy or you amputation or you do whatever, you got to cut the tumor out. You got to do surgery, you got to do whatever you got to do to get it out. And it's not fun, it's not exciting, no one loves that process, and you might, out of the goodness of your heart, want to keep a good person to help them, quote unquote, but your business and your team and your customers and your reputation very quickly, and that has much wider scope of impact than just saying like, look, your problems and troubles, I care about you as a person, but those cannot come into this business, and if they're going to, we gotta part ways. Does home service CPA work for Canadians too? Van Green, it does not. So just US for now. Any suggestions on where to buy uniform items such as shirts and hoodies? There's honestly, Travis, so many. We use a company called Swag Up at Augusta, but it's because we buy tens of thousands of uniforms, so we get like $7 a shirt. It's really cheap, but there's a lot of shirt online companies, etc. Brent says, love all the improvements the last few months. You mentioned Pricebook being added in the future. What is that? Pricebook is the ability to be able to have all of the component parts of your pricing that you could from your mobile device or on the desktop and put together the estimate. To kind of do that in a spreadsheet or somewhere else, and then compile, like putting the price on the estimate. What should be a $100,000 job. Great. I can just be inside of Homeworks. I can tap on, okay, I need 5 yards of mulch. I need 10 yards of gravel. I need 360 square feet of pavers. I need 58 blocks, wall blocks, and it just build all that in the background for the pricing. That should all be automatic. And that's what we're working on. That's the price book. It'll allow you to be into an estimate without showing that to the customer. And it's the back end that will be also really extreme job possible. So I'm capped out on my Java subscription. It's going to cost $50 per person going forward. Is that fair? Weird. I'm wondering if you hit the cap, if they start charging you $50 per person. I've never heard of that. I thought it was $29. Yeah, big difference in tax laws, Canadian versus US, so I figured as such. What about if one were to buy into the franchise for a Canadian location? So for the Canadians, we do have, for Augusta, we do have payroll that we do. Payroll, bookkeeping, we do for Canadians, yes. But again, we have a lot of owners up there. So for home service CPA, we've just stuck to the US. All right, everyone. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate everyone tremendously. This is the time, the very first, to switch to Copilot. So hopefully some of your questions have been answered. But if you have any questions more, please reach out to the support team. You can book a direct call. If you go to copilotcrm.com, in the bottom right-hand corner, it says book a sales and consultation call. That's with Christian. He will walk you through anything. If you want to see a demo, anything like that. But if you join today, it's the best time of year because then everything in 2026 will be inside Copilot, soon to be Homeworks, and everything in your previous CRM in terms of reporting would be inside your other CRM. It just makes it really clean and simple. Every time I've switched software, which is unfortunately a lot, always done it January 1st. So that there's a very clear distinction between years, and it's very easy to keep track of my reporting. It's very easy from a tax perspective, IRS, reports, etc. So go check it out, copilotcrm.com. Soon to be Homeworks. They're come out in February and March. The team is working on, and I cannot wait to share it with all of you. So appreciate you being here. Happy New Year. I appreciate your support tremendously. I look forward to 2026 being able to build some really awesome stuff for all of you to use and grow in your business. Love you all. Have a great 2026.